Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm joined by Reverend David Niebuhr, President of the Emergency Services Chaplaincy. We're talking about trauma support, mental health and emergency services, and the realities of caring for people in crisis. This is a conversation about resilience, service, and the people who support us when it matters most. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm lovely and compliments of the season to you.
Thank you. The same to you and your listeners.
Ah, lovely. Yeah, to start the ball rolling, how have things been for you recently, both personally and within the emergency services chaplaincy?
I think it's been very evident to everybody in the last while that 2025 was a difficult year. We also lost quite a few of our great people to the Lord, both
Oh,
personally and within the chaplaincy too, as times are getting harder and more difficult. People are also suffering more and going through more challenges in these days. But yes, I think the only thing that came out very strongly out of this is that the one thing that is so clear is that we need the Lord now more than ever. If we think that we can take on all the challenges that life can bring us all on our own, we are greatly mistaken. One thing is for sure, the Lord will not forsake us. And that brings us the hope and the strength we need for this new year also.
yeah, that's true. As president of the chaplaincy, what have been some of the biggest developments or challenges you faced this year? I mean, last year, actually, sorry. Oh, sorry, did you get my question there?
You broke up a bit, but I think I've got it.
Oh,
We
sorry.
have
Okay, no,
noticed
my
that
question was, I'm sorry, as president of the chaplaincy, what have been some of the biggest developments or challenges you faced in 2025?
I think some of the greatest challenges we see is that it is getting increasingly difficult for people to volunteer their services. This is basically due to the economical state of our country,
Hmm.
increased traveling costs, and time constraints are a problem. Yet we also see that God is faithful in caring for people and still calling people and making it possible for them to serve the Lord in this matter. He's continuing to lay it on the hearts of people also to support the ministries such as the chaplaincy.
All right. What originally called you into emergency chaplaincy, and does that calling still evolve for you today? Oh, okay.
It is certainly
Okay.
interesting to
Uh-huh.
see how times have changed. Uh,
Hmm.
when I was initially called into the service about 30 years ago, the system and structure of emergency services was completely different as it is today. I was called to minister in the Nigel fire station, then both fire and ambulance services, and I became an integral part of the family of the Nigel EMS. And those bonds are bonds that today still standing with my brothers and sisters that served with me then. But the landscape did change. Nigel became part of the greater Ekurhuleni Metro, and so the stations changed, the crews changed, people changed, structures changed. Um, yeah, suddenly I was then elected as the chief chaplain of the Ekurhuleni Metro, which took me out of a very small station into a very big metro with lots of staff and people to care for. And then later on, also, I became part of the national board and then the president. Today, the emergency services look totally different from where we started. I mean, the environment changed, the structures kept evolving. We constantly need to adapt to ever changing environments, and that has its fair share of challenges too. But being a living organization, we are there and we adapt and we change and we grow with the times. God has called us, and in His service, we will continue to grow as we walk with Him and under His guidance.
Wow. How has the emotional landscape of first responders changed over the years in your experience?
I would say that I do believe that the amount of stress they are under are increasingly more, and a great deal of cases, resources to do the job that they are called to do is more limited these days too. The demands on an increasing population puts on the emergency services, with the scarcity of some of them having no vehicles, equipment, or even staff, also increase the stress levels. And that fact that the increase in frustration experienced by the communities too when they need the services and it's simply not available at the time that they need them. And violence happening at the scene when they get there. This makes it, as they fear the attacks, the resentment of the people, while they are trying to do their best with their limited resources sometimes, then there's the increase of robberies and attacks on our emergency staff to steal their equipment, to steal their vehicles, etc. Also, for the police officers, the fear of being attacked for their weapons or uniforms, the criminal reason behind it also put a great amount of stress on our workers. They often fear for their safety and their lives, with great reality to that fears. And communities need to react to this and make our areas safer for our emergency services workers also to work in, understanding that the limitations they are going through and the problems they often experience are not due to their own choice, although they are the ones getting blamed for it. But they are doing their best to try and assist our emergencies to help our communities too.
Yeah. All right. What are some early warning signs that someone in emergency services may be carrying unresolved trauma?
Warning signs of unresolved trauma. There's quite a few that you can be looking for. The first will be obviously your behavioral and emotional signs. Firstly, you will find the withdrawal, them pulling away from friends and colleagues, family members, no longer wanting to participate in social gatherings. Then you will get your increased irritability, anger, that short fuse and snapping at everyone over simple things. The emotional numbing feeling where they start losing their emotions. They to feel joy or sadness inappropriate to relax, where they're always ready for action, constantly scanning for threats and safety. The loss of compassion or cynicism. You've got your cognitive and performance signs, like intrusive thoughts, memory and concentration issues, preoccupation with certain incidents that they keep replaying in their minds. Then you've got your physical and lifestyle signs. For example, sleep disturbances, insomnia, restlessness, nightmares, especially, or sleeping exclusively to escape. Then substance abuse, obviously, or it could be either from alcohol or even medication or sleeping tablets, neglecting self care, unexplained aches and pains, especially when you start looking at things like headaches, stomach issues, or general feelings of being unwell. And socially, the deterioration in relationship, works relationships, more absenteeism, loss of sense of purpose, like nothing matters for them anymore. Then obviously they'll start avoiding things that might trigger them. And this all have a big impact and is something that we need to look out for.
Yeah. All right. There's a comment question here for you. This is from Jitin Rishika. Dear Reverend, what was the regrettable moment you experienced in your line of duty?
The regrettable moment. Not 100% sure what's
Yeah.
meant by
I'm just
that.
reading. Maybe she probably meant like, were there any probably moment you probably regretted in terms of if a situation maybe
I
felt maybe not? Yeah.
can't say that I
Mm-hmm.
regret anything
Uh-huh.
specifically in my
Mm-hmm.
line of
Mm-hmm.
yes, I don't regret that the Lord has called me because I know that He
Mm-hmm.
can use me
Yeah.
and He can use me to. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, sure. How do you personally decompress and protect your own mental health after heavy or prolonged exposure to trauma?
It is important to have a close relationship with God, to pray every time before you're going out to a call, to pray for His peace, His protection, and His guidance, to make sure that you are tuned into Him when you arrive on a scene. It is also important to know that you are on a scene as one of His representatives and not for your own, in your own capacity or for your fame or glory at all. Thus, if you realize on a scene that it is a particularly traumatic scene, you need to call for help. Don't try and do everything for yourself because it's not about you. If it was about you, obviously you won't be able to deal with everything. But if you give the glory to God and you trust Him and you get the help needed, it will make a scene. And when you have a completely traumatic scene, you also need to afterwards reach out to those that are there also for your debriefing, to pray for you and to care for you. You need to spend your time with the Lord, that you, after exhausting yourself in any sin, also take the time to rebuild your strength and get your strength from the Lord again, so that you will be ready that when the next will come, that you will be able to assist there too.
True. What role does community involvement play in supporting the mental well-being of first responders?
I'm sorry, I lost you for a while.
Oh, sure, no problem. What role does community involvement play in supporting the mental well-being of first responders?
That's an excellent question. Community involvement plays a crucial role and a multifaceted role in supporting the mental well-being of first responders, especially of firefighters, paramedics, police, dispatchers, etc. It operates on several interconnected levels, moving beyond simple appreciation to active structural support. Firstly, I would say in combating the stigma and normalizing help seeking. The problem is we live in a culture where the perception exists that admitting to a psychological strain is seen as weakness.
Hmm.
First responders often fear judgment from people and the public when they admit that they might need help or assistance or they are struggling with a certain scene that they've been to. And that's where the community should openly discuss these issues with people. Fund maybe campaigns specific for first responders suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, and invite responders to share their stories on their terms, not putting a spin on it to suit them, and to help them normalize the conversation where the public support signals that the person might be seeking for help, and signs that they might need help from maybe professional people, and not seeing it as a failure, but that's a part of the normal process. Also, by providing the sense of purpose and validation. The feeling that a lot of these emergency people have is that people only take them for granted, and their feelings too. So why do I even do this sometimes? Why
Mm.
should I continue? I'm not appreciated. My role is not appreciated. And that's where communities' respectful engagement beyond the ceremonial hero praise reconnect to these responders to their core mission of servicing the community, and simple acts of gratitude, school projects, of community feedback, or positive interaction reminds them that their work has meaning and they still have an impact that they make and that they have value. We also need to create a buffer against their occupational stresses by welcoming first responders into the fabric of the normal community life. For example, getting them to maybe coach at the school for at the sports event, making them part of the neighborhood, getting them to join your hobby groups if they've got an interest in that. Because a lot of time these people feel are very isolated in their lives and that what they are doing. They also don't feel that people out there understand them or will try and understand them. For that reason, they are living mostly an isolated existence where they keep to themselves and their co workers, as they feel that the people of the public won't appreciate them, won't accept them, and won't understand what they're going through. And then also facilitating successful reintegration after a critical incident. If you know, for example, that there was a terrible motor vehicle accident or a burn or a fire where people were burnt and killed, and you know that those emergency workers that were at that scene must be traumatized, to try and get them, to show them that you appreciate them, that you are there for them, that you want to make them part of your community, maybe inviting them to a church service, um, to thank them that regardless of the losses that still occurred, they did everything and they made a difference in a few of the people's lives that they could help, to make them feel that they were not failures, but that the community sees them, recognize them, and appreciate the help and the things they did for the people. And then obviously fostering trust and reducing conflict in the stresses that is caused on scenes too. As we've said earlier, the calls that they are getting called out to, where they are struggling to with resources, but still trying to do their very best, trying to get our neighbors to understand what's going on, and that these people are with overwhelming odds sometimes against them, still giving their everything to try and serve the community, to be more proactive from a community side, to make them feel appreciated and not fearing to go out to scenes because of the prejudice out there against them, maybe.
All right. Being a volunteer-driven organization, how do you sustain motivation and avoid burnout among chaplains? Oh, did you get my question, sir?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
For a
okay, okay.
volunteer-driven Christian service, maintaining motivation and preventing burnout requires a multifaceted approach, grounded in both the spiritual principles and obviously the practical support. The spiritual foundation would then obviously be the regular spiritual formation of pastoral care through retreats or prayer groups or spiritual direction that is needed in every chaplain's life. They need to be part of a Christian community that cares for them as well. The communal worship and fellowship is thus very important, where the community or their church reach out to them also and help them feel part and help them worship together so that they can also grow in their spiritual journey. then obviously you're going to have the structural support as well. The professional supervision of officers or trained chaplains and counselors that are there for other chaplains also, so that the chaplains know that whenever they are going through something, there is somebody that they can go to and talk to. Then you've got your continued training and development. As continued education is then providing training in how to deal with your trauma, giving them more informed ways of dealing with the scenes they are going to, teaching them about boundary setting and self care, helping them with self development, offering them the opportunities to develop new ministry skills and maintain their engagement in this also, and giving them a clear role definition, ensuring that the volunteers also understand their scope of practice to prevent role confusion, that they know what is expected of them, how to deal with it. And obviously, then your practical care, the debriefing protocols, establishing maybe a mandatory critical incident stress debriefing after a certain call that was specifically traumatic to them, and giving them access also to resources, providing materials on burnout prevention, mental care, etc., and also contact details of professional people to help them should they require this need. Then.
Okay. My final question to you is, what message would you like to leave with viewers about mental health, resilience, and supporting those who serve others?
Look at the hands of your first responders, the scars, the tremors, and their strength. Behind every siren is a human heart that has what experienced so many things that you never hope to ever see. They carry your worst days, so you don't have to carry it alone. They are there for you. But resilience is not invincibility. They are still just human beings. It is the courage to bend. It is the wisdom to ask for help before breaking themselves. The strongest call is not the one for more strength, but the one to say, I'm wounded. I need some assistance. To your and our community, your compassion is the cornerstone that is needed for every emergency service to deliver an effective service and to be there. See your emergency service staff not just as heroes, but as your neighbor, as a parent, a friend. Check on them. Listen without judgment. Your simple, steady kindness is a shelter for them in the storms that they are also going through. And to my brothers and sisters in uniform, your worth is not measured by the lives you save, but by the humanity you protect, including your own humanity. It is not weakness to grieve, to tremble, to need to rest sometimes too. It is proof you are just still a human being. You are here and you still have feelings. And we recognize that and we see you. We are bound together, communities and the emergency services keeper. Let us carry each other then. Let us normalize tenderness as the truest form of our strength. For in the ashes, it is our shared humanity that will rebuild this world in times of crisis. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful. Thanks so much for your time once again, and I hope to catch up with you during the year.
Thank you. It will be nice chatting again, and I do appreciate you and your listeners. May you be blessed.
Likewise.